Oh my goodness, guys, we are live finally. I am so sorry. I am technically 2 minutes late. Um, but you can't freaking time these things, can you? So I've actually been waiting for my car in the garage. If you're like me and have no freaking clue about cars or anything to do with cars, but you know that your car's probably going to cost a lot. I have been waiting for that phone to ring, and I knew that they finished at 5 o'clock. And it got to like 2 minutes to 5, and I was like, I need to know what, because I need the car this weekend. So yeah, anyway, called them, and they reckon they can get it all fixed tomorrow. God knows how much it's going to cost. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, so that's my apologies for being late. If you're watching this on replay, you're like, well, you're not late because I'm watching you now. Anyway, if you're watching on replay, don't forget to pop in hashtag replay on the comments. Welcome along to this training. Oh my God, I have been doing so much research today, so much like compiling all of my notes. It's going to be freaking epic. This is like, I'm gonna rename this training. So it was how to deal with your sweet tooth during Halloween, but it's gonna be a massive craving, like sweet tooth craving kind of like training. Just so if you're watching this on replay, it's not just specific to Halloween, and it's going to help you get through any bouts where you might find that sweets are on the shelf more often than not, maybe where you feel like there's more treats around, more temptation. So this isn't just going to be a Halloween base, though it is at the moment, just before Halloween. It's the 25th of October. I know that there's been a lot of pumpkin spice foods out. Oh my goodness, walking through the grocery store the other day, and I nearly killed over and had a heart attack because they were like unpacking like kilos and kilos and kilos of like Christmas cake, of marzipan stuff, Mr. Kipling stuff. If you're UK based, you'll know what it is. Oh my God, just so much junk on the shelves. Not even food, right? And we are hooked. We are hooked. We are hooked. And I'll talk about this in a minute, but it's just like everywhere we look, everywhere we see, we have to celebrate food with alcohol, with food, with Coca-Cola, whatever it is. And it's just like, no wonder why we're struggling with these cravings. No wonder why we're struggling to lose weight. No wonder why it's difficult to lose weight at these times, is because the media and food companies and food manufacturers are just throwing everything that they can at us. It's like, oh, it's Christmas. Let's tell everyone that they suddenly need to eat fucking marzipan. Like, no, stop it. Anyway, so when I was doing my food shop the other day, I kind of thought, I was like, no, me still sweet tooth craving. Technology failed me a couple of weeks back, and I was going to do a craving chat then. So this is kind of like a little tie-in with that. So anyway, just to let you know, if you're new here, because we've got a few new faces in here, and this is probably going to be one of those ones that I will direct you to if you are a sucker for a sweet thing, if you've got a sweet tooth, if you're struggling to lose weight through Christmas, through Halloween, through Easter, then you're probably watching this for a reason, because I've directed you to this place. So just in case you don't know me, I'm Bianca. I'm that plant-based weight loss coach. Yep, that plant-based weight loss coach, because I help women achieve their dream life and health through lifestyle, habit change, and plant-based nutrition. So not only do I look and focus on nutrition, we look at other elements of your life. I say that there's 4, and I'm starting to consider that there's 5 fundamental pillars of health. And I talk about nutrition, movement, sleep, stress, and water being the 5 key things that you need in your life to manage and control properly, to be able to live your most healthiest and happiest and longest of lives, right? So I help people have a happier, more joyful life, lose weight by focusing on the main pillars of health. Now, I'm getting in the holiday spirit, I think, this year. I'm getting in the holiday spirit. Now, if you know me, you'll be like, what the hell, Bianca? I know you're not a fan of Christmas. But this year, I'm going to be bringing out some serious treats for you, okay? So just before we get into this epic training, which, by the way, I'm sorry, as usual, I got an itchy nose. I think it's like this time of day. Maybe like dust is settling off something, I don't know. basically this training, I'm going to equip you with some serious freaking knowledge bombs. Okay. But I'm announcing that I'm going to give you a gift. So I want you to know that clients who sign up before December, because usually December hits and then everyone's like, oh my God, I've lost control. Oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh my God, I'll just start next year. And then it's a whole kerfuffle, right? So clients who sign up before December, this is trying to get you on and get you the support all the way through Christmas. That's why it's designed before December. We'll receive an addition. I've clearly got too much energy today. Don't ask me what's happened. I don't know how and I don't know why. But clients who will sign up before December will receive an additional 3 months coaching with me. Okay. So my Christmas present to you is roughly around £160 worth of coaching fees, right? For free when you sign up for a 6 months bespoke coaching program. So bespoke to your needs, bespoke to where you're at. It's not just a cookie cutter program. We look at all the things that help you and help you thrive and push you in the right direction to what you need it for, what you need in that moment, right? So when you sign up for the 6 months bespoke coaching program before December, you'll get this 3 months. Now, of course, spaces are limited. I've only got 2 coaching slots for this. So get in quick. All you got to do is shout me the word call, DMs or comments. You should always know this. We will get on a quick call. At the end of the call, I'll be able to tell you if you're a good fit for me, if I feel like you're coachable. You can then see if you're happy to continue with coaching, and then we'll go from there, and your free coaching month will be applied. Okay, so if you sign up before December. Right, let's get started. Okay, so again, if you're here, you're probably likely suffering with cravings. Maybe you're struggling to lose weight because of the cravings or because of the holiday season. So let's get into it. What are cravings? What are they? What the flipping hell are they? Cravings can come from one of 2 things. Okay, it can be a nutritional imbalance. So what I mean by this is maybe your blood sugar levels are out of whack. Maybe your blood sugar levels, I said that. Maybe your nutrients are off balance. Maybe you're lacking in something. Okay, maybe you're lacking in B12 or iron, protein, or it can be an emotional crutch. A craving can literally mean that we are lacking or we have a void of a certain emotion, or we really strongly want to feel a different way. Okay, so cravings are often messages. They are basically little messengers from the brain that says something is up. It's like the alert system, right? Something is up, guys. Something needs to change. Holy shit, hold down the fort. Something needs to change. So the messages always have good intentions, because it's like, okay, something's wrong here, what's going on? They have good intentions, but they're not always useful, okay? Because our innate wisdom as humans, we have evolved not to deal with technology, not to deal with social pressures, not to deal with the insane marketing skills like Coca-Cola, definitely slipping that in, right? Our human nature has not evolved to the world that we live in yet, but it has evolved so much so that your body, if there's something wrong, it will do whatever it can to recalibrate. And that's where cravings come in. So every craving has a good intention. This is something that we talk about in the coaching world. Every craving has a good intention. Not necessarily the best route, the best solution, but it's a good intention. Okay. Now, like I said, there are 2 kind of main sources of cravings. Now, it's a nutritional imbalance, so physical or emotional. Okay. Let's look at the physical first. And don't worry, guys, I'm going to give you a whole list. I'm just scrolling down in my notes. I've got 6 huge tips for you. But first, we need to figure out what it is, okay? Is it food? Is it emotional? Because what you use to get around it and to continue to lose weight and continue to be the healthiest version of yourself depends on which type of craving it is. Okay, so your body will crave the shortcut to the nutrient it needs. So what I mean by this, basically, let's give you a basic rundown. Energy, right? Your body needs energy. The alert systems go off and it's like, woo, we need energy. What is going to get us energy? Carbohydrates. Okay, so I need carbohydrates straight away. I need energy, need carbohydrates. That's going to be the quickest, like insulin spike, glucose spike, like whew, go straight up. I need energy. What's the quickest way that we can get energy? Sugar. Cool. Sugar is the quickest way that we can get energy. So all of a sudden the messages come out and then it goes to the eyes and then we turn around and we go, oh, chocolate bar, sugar. I want that. I want that chocolate bar. So immediately your brain has gone shortcut, 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 right? It has not stopped and gone, we need some sugar because we need some energy. However, if I eat that chocolate bar, I'm going to feel disappointed, guilt, and shame. So although the short-term benefits are great, the long-term benefits aren't really good. It's not going to help me get to my goals. It's going to make me feel like shit mentally and physically. My blood sugar level is going to spike and then they're going to drop. No, none of that. None of that, right? Your brain is like, give me everything I can right now. Like, I need it all now. That is literally your brain. I feel very hyperactive today. Guys, if you're watching this and you're like, oh my God, calm down. I swear to God, I had one coffee this morning at like 8 o'clock in the morning. God knows what's happened. Anyway, I love it. I'm here for it. I'm here for all the energy. And no, I haven't had a chocolate bar either. I've literally eaten whole foods, like buzzing today. And last night, oh my goodness, last night I had the worst cramps, this close to throwing up for about 3 hours. 3 hours because the pain was so bad because of my menstruation cramps. But anyway, so, you know, it must be just like all the resting that I've done now. My body's like, blah. Right. Okay. Back to where I was going, what I was talking about. So your body is going to try and opt for the quickest route. It's not going to sit there and contemplate about how you're going to feel, the long-term effects, whether it's a good decision or a bad decision. It's just going to go 1 + 1 is 2. Now, quick, go. Okay. So again, they are a good message, right? It is a good message, but it's kind of like lost in translation. So the fact that you might be really tired and you need some carbohydrates and your brain signifies that you really freaking need that chocolate bar down there, it's a good point for you to stop and go, right, okay, that's the chocolate bar. My mouth is salivating. Suddenly I feel more alert and awake because I know that I'm going to have this chocolate bar or this packet of biscuits. Maybe my energy is low. That's when you can step in and take a moment and go, okay. So it's not an emotional thing. We'll cover emotional things. It's not an emotional thing. It's not like a situational or environmental thing. Like, I'm really actually low on energy. I tell you what, if I'm low on energy, what would be a better nutrient dense thing to satisfy this craving? Well, of course, it's going to be healthier whole food, right? Fruits, vegetables, whole food, a meal, right? Rather than just this sugary snack. One way to test this, really good way to test this, is if you are craving sugar, like that chocolate bar, for example, and you think, do you know what? I'm actually just really tired. I need a pick me up. Like, I'm tired, I'm feeling hungry, I need a pick me up. Why will you not move? Cut. Oh, my keyboard's not switched on, that's why. One way to test this is you can test it with food, right? So if you see that chocolate bar, you realize I am actually hungry, I need some energy, really stuck. What can I have instead? You can go and buy something that's healthy, right? Simple. Say to yourself, okay, I'll still have that chocolate bar if it doesn't satisfy my craving for food. But at the moment, don't forget, your brain has gone 1, 2, 3 shortcut. And at this moment, you're there, you're interrupting it and going, how about the scenic route? Maybe let's just try something else, right? So then you go in, you buy yourself something more substantial, more nutrient dense, more nutritional. Why do I always get my words mixed up? I'm wrong. And so you go in for something that's better, that's healthier, right? Let's say you finish that thing and you're like, do you know what? I really don't or want that chocolate bar anymore. Bam. You are likely desiring energy, not the chocolate bar. Okay. So just think about it and say, right, would having an apple right now, would having a banana right now, maybe would having a meal right now suffice? Is that going to be the best thing that's going to get me that energy? Or am I going to still crave the food? Okay. And if you're still craving the food, then it was most likely emotional. The more times you go through this process, the easier it becomes, the more innate, the more natural it'll become. So don't worry about screwing it up or messing it up the first time or getting it wrong. Worry about not getting it wrong. Worry about, oh my God, I haven't even tried it because I'm worried that it's not going to go to plan. So I haven't even tried it and tested it. And so I'd actually am like in a worse position than when I set out to do it, right? I'm talking about those who are it has to be perfect or I'm not going to do it. If that's you, then I'm looking at you. That's a whole nother story. Perfectionism is an utter cover-up for lies. It's an utter cover-up, it's lies, and it's just your brain telling you that it doesn't want to do something for some other particular reason, which isn't actually. My mind's gone choo-choo, just completely gone. I don't know what's going on in my brain today. Anyway, let's reverse. That was not very relevant. So if it is an emotional cue and you tried it, maybe you've tried it a few times, keep going. Maybe you start to notice that certain things, certain times, certain feelings are an emotional trigger, then cool. Go and focus on the things that we're going to talk about in the emotional section of this training video. Not quite there yet. So I've got a couple of other things to say. When you crave food, now I'm talking about like cheese, meat, sugar, right? When you crave these foods, I want you to notice whether it's something that you've just given up or you're trying to give up, right? So a lot of people will say to me, I can't give up cheese. I can't give up meat. Oh my God, I could never give up bacon, right? I'm really sorry if you are hardcore vegan right now and getting upset by those words, but sometimes we get to that stage where we're like, do you know what? I need to transition, but I really struggle giving up this one food. Even if you're transitioning from vegan to whole food plant-based, maybe you might say, I'm really craving chocolate or I'm really craving sugar, whether it's plant-based or not. Okay. What's happening here is you have an entire community, an entire population of good gut bacteria, okay, in your gut and your stomach. Now, this is called your microbiome. Now, you kind of have like a little individual group of bacteria that help digest a certain food for every food. Now, it really does help digest that food. So say, for example, you have cheese, you have bacteria that helps digest that cheese. That gut bacteria is really good at staying alive. It's like, hey, I'm just going to pull this little cord here and it's going to make you crave some cheese because I'm starting to get really weak right now. You need to feed me cheese. So the cheese gut bacteria is saying, hey, I need some cheese over here. It's putting like a little rod, you know, like on a puppet, like grabbing its string and being like, hello. And so you'll crave the cheese. But if you take the cheese away, you start starving that bacteria. So if you're transitioning from a non-plant-based diet to a plant-based diet, you're going to start craving those foods that you no longer want to eat or choose to eat because partly of the bacteria, partly habit, but also partly bacteria. You are starting to starve the bacteria, right? This creates cravings, the bacteria pulling on your string, being like, hello. So you're creating cravings. Every time you eat something, you're feeding that bacteria. So as soon as you stop, you create the cravings, but you need to just keep going because the craving is going to get stronger and stronger the weaker they get, because they're going to be like pulling onto that cord and they're like falling down, right? And they're like, oh my God, can you just, it gets heavier and heavier, craving gets heavier and heavier, but then they start dying off. And then they're letting go of that string and you're like, oh, don't have that craving anymore. But between that, oh my God, I need cheese now, to the, take it or leave it, don't think I need it anymore. That transition is vital. Okay, now that's where people give up, whether you're trying to give up meat, cheese, alcohol, food, cigarettes, nicotine, vapes, whatever it is, right? If you're struggling to give something up, right then and there is the most crucial time to make the right decision. Because if you give in, you're right back where you started. Every single time, without fail. You're giving up vapes. I can tell you this because my partner smoked vapes, right? He gets to like day 5 and he's like, oh, I really need one. I'm like, you've got this, just carry on. This is the most vital part. He goes out because he's struggling, gets a vape, he's back to square one. Same goes for trying to give up meat and cheese and sugar and alcohol, whatever it is. Those few days are vital. Just hold on and wait until you get to the other end, because you're going to be so much more proud of yourself for pushing through the hardest parts. Learn to push past it, right? All you're doing is fighting off some bacteria in your stomach. And that is just sending out messages and saying like, hey, have cheese, please have cheese, please have cheese. That's all it is. You're not fighting an actual nicotine addiction. You're not fighting a human being. You're not fighting crowds at the supermarket. Just a couple of little tiny bacteria that is much smaller than this. Now, if you say that you're not stronger than that, I beg to disagree, because you are, right? After a few days, the bacteria is going to die off, and that's going to create a weaker craving. So, as we can see, that there are physical reasons why we would be craving certain foods, right? The reason why we crave foods like candy, chocolate, crisps, something salty, the unhealthy foods, is because usually it's a shortcut to what your body thinks that it needs, right? And that is the ultimate. If we had something that was probably more sugar dense, palate, like a palate sensation, better than a chocolate bar, we'd probably crave that. But at the moment, realistically, for most people, that's probably like the most ideal thing. Soon enough, you'll kill off all that gut bacteria, and what will it have you doing? Craving the healthy foods, craving kale, craving broccoli, craving healthy, fresh salads, delicious, nutrient-dense foods, because you will be feeding that bacteria. Trust me on this one. I crave vegetables all the time, and I freaking eat them all the time, and I'm happy with that. I am so much happier craving healthy foods than craving a cheeseburger, right? I'm so much happier with that, because I know that my body is the healthiest and fittest and most strongest and robust than it ever has been. So I'm happy out craving salads. I can guarantee you, if you're struggling to lose weight, you would kill to be craving healthy foods. So let's look at the emotional side of it, okay? Because this is the hardest part. This is the part that really sucks, because it's not a pill, it's not something that you can eat, it's not something that you can drink, right? It's just like, oh, I have to deal with my emotions? What's that about? Okay, this is the hardest part. So think internal cues, external cues, sleep, emotions, and unhappiness, kind of emotions. I didn't know how to categorize that. So emotional, and I'm categorizing all of the following under emotional, because it's just really easy to say, right, we've got physical and mental, right? Physical cues, mental cravings, mental cravings. So let's look at a mental craving. Instead of emotional, let's say mental. So we've got internal cues. Internal cues are emotions that we feel, right? So emotions that we feel. So maybe you're, excuse me, maybe you are feeling sad, frustrated, stressed. These are internal cues. Then we look at external cues. So external cues are ones that are like prompted by your environment. So if you think about walking down your high street, think about the first smell of food that you get. Where is it? Guarantee you, straight away you were like Greggs or Wetherspoons, or let's do this one that's not the UK, McDonald's or Hungry Jack's, Burger King, whatever it is, right? Guarantee if you're walking down the high street, you can already smell the smell that's coming up. There's a perfect example that I have of this for myself. Now, I lived in Queenstown in New Zealand for 5 years. When you're in the main town, or at least 2 roads over from the main town, like let's just say in like a 100, 200 meter radius of this one bakery, you can smell the freaking bakery. Like you can smell it. And if anyone ever says, what's the smell of Queenstown? I would say Ferg Baker, which they're like they're next door to each other. So they kind of like produce their own smell. And it's just like, absolutely, that's the smell of town. But when I think about that, the external cue of the smell, of the situation, it makes me want to eat. So suddenly I've got an external cue to eat. Suddenly I've got an external craving for a burger or a pastry, right? Or a pub meal or a fast food joint. So mental, it's not really, it doesn't start mentally, but we are triggered mentally, right? You don't suddenly walk past a Burger King and realize that you're deficient in salt. Generally, it doesn't happen, right? Oh, suddenly I'm deficient in heart disease, right? Let's just walk in that. No, that's not how it works. Okay, so usually it's like an emotional mental trigger. Another one that's mental is lack of sleep. So I've talked about it a lot. I'm not going to talk about it now, but sleep is very important. If you're new here, pop the word sleep below and I'll point you to the right direction. But when we are lacking sleep, it triggers us to eat more, triggers us to not think very clearly, not make great decisions. And not making great decisions is usually food-based because we're tired, we're grumpy, we're miserable, we want something that makes us feel good. Okay, lack of sleep. So let's look at the emotional side, right? Feeling sad, angry, frustrated, stressed. Now, if you're new here, this is going to be new to you. If you're old here, if you're an old time around here, this is going to be a reminder. At one point or another, our brains connected food with an emotion. So for example, say you're at home, you have a brother and you are getting picked on by your brother. And he says, you are, I don't know, you're fat, you've got cooties. I don't know, what do brothers say? I don't know. Something horrible, something mean, right? So you run to your bedroom, you cry, maybe you take your dinner there. You've taken your dinner to your bedroom, you're crying, I know you're eating. But, 15 minutes goes past, you're still eating, you're watching TV, you've gotten over it. You're like, okay, he's just an asshole. I'm over it now. I feel better. Actually, I feel really good. Feel good because you've eaten, maybe a little bit of a sugar increase. I feel good now. Now suddenly the brain's gone, aha. Okay, remember the whole habit, the whole shortcut thing that I talked about? It's like, aha, when we sad, we eat. When we eat, we feel better. That's literally what the brain does. It's like caveman, right? Sad, eat. Sad, eat, right? And this happens multiple times during our lives. Think about being an adult. It's like, hey, let's celebrate graduation with champagne, with canapes. Let's celebrate a wedding with food, with alcohol, right? It's all around us. So it's not your fault that your brain has connected these two. And in fact, that is what the brain has designed to do. It is designed to go, aha, coping mechanism, quickest and easiest way. There are very few people on this planet that create healthy coping mechanisms straight away and keep them into adulthood. Okay, just putting it out there. There's very few. I know someone very closely. Her coping mechanism with stress was movement. Now, luckily, she didn't get into eating much, and movement is just her muse, right? It's her way of unwinding. So she exercises a lot. That's her coping mechanism. That's great, right? But I guarantee you, for a lot of people watching this, we have created, I say we because I have been there as well, we have created a connection with needing or feeling something, needing and feeling, wanting something else with food, right? Food was the vehicle at the time. Totally fine. We just need to unpick it. Just a little caveat here. Another emotional, mental element could be that something is deficient in your life. So I'm not saying maybe you're sad or lonely, but maybe your social life is taking a bit of a dive. Maybe you don't like the place that you're in. Maybe you don't like the people you hang out with. Maybe your finances are in a really terrible situation at the moment, right? Again, these can be triggers for us using food to soothe or numb out. Now, how do we deal with these emotions that doesn't involve food? Well, you have to deal with your shit. You're going to hate me for that, but you're going to have to deal with your shit. Literally, that's it. That's the be all and end all. No, it's not quite. I've got more tips, don't worry. If your finances are down and you're too busy and stressed to work on the emotional connection between finances and food, you need to sort out your finances. Same goes for health, emotional, social, relationships, self-care, all of these things, right? If you're feeling lonely, sad, angry, frustrated, this is your emotion. You need to learn how to deal with this. How do you deal with this? Meditation, journaling, talking to a friend, right? These are all ways in which you can cope without food. You can do it easily. You can just create a new connection, okay? With emotions, you can also just sit with them, right? Imagine you're really angry. Oh my God, I am really, really angry right now. Maybe usually anger is like straight for food. Maybe it's like, oh, I need to just get rid of this anger. Sit with it for a minute. Just sit. This is anger. This is how anger feels. I can feel this in my fingertips, my heart rate, my lungs, my throat. This is how anger feels. Usually it takes about 9 seconds for an emotion to pass. An emotion is a physiological response, right? So generally your heart rate will increase. You'll probably get the shakes, sweats, feelings and sensations in your body. That is the feeling, but you can connect it with whatever you want to connect it with. So you could feel angry, but choose to feel happy. Very opposite things. But you can feel anger, but you can choose your feelings. Anger is the emotion, you can choose your feelings. Takes a little bit of time, takes a little bit of practice, but you can, right? There is ways that you can do it, so you can do it, right? There's no, oh, well, I feel angry, so I should be angry. We're not having a pity party. You are in control of your emotions, so take control of them. Stop using food as a crutch. Right, now, I know you guys are desperate, because you always are, for the nitty gritty. Just, okay, Bianca, I get it. I need to deal with my emotions. You know, maybe I am lacking in salt or B12 or whatever it is, a nutrient deficiency. Just give me the nitty gritty. Like, how can I sort this out once and for all? Right. So how to eliminate cravings. 1, deal with the uncomfortable shit that's in your life. What's getting you down? Why are you bored all the time? Why are you looking for dopamine here? Right? Why are you always anxious and stressed? Who is stressing you out? Deal with the uncomfortable shit. Because if you don't address the problem, you're just masking the solution with a different solution. You're just masking it with a different solution, right? You've not actually fixed the stressor in your life. You're just trying to cope with it differently. I get that there are some situations where you can't necessarily change. You can't change the situation, but if you can, then deal with it. If you can't change the situation, how can you change it to suit you? How can you turn it around so you can take control over that? So you can take control over how it hits you, how you receive that information. If it stresses you out, how can you find a better way to deal with the emotion, to deal with the situation, right? Number 2, and this is going to be for all you tangible folks that want something else to do, drink plenty of water. And now I mean more than you already are. If you've watched any of my videos before, you're going to be like, Bianca, you say this all the time. That's because it's so freaking important. Water, water, cheers to that. Eat whole and healthy foods, especially through winter, especially through times where it's darker for longer days. It's okay. It's okay to eat these foods. Unfortunately, society has gone and said, oh, well, we always eat more over winter. Oh, we always put on winter weight. Well, no, you don't need to put on winter weight, but you also don't need to avoid these heavy foods and then binge at Christmas or Thanksgiving or Halloween candy, right? The problem is these binges are what actually sets us back more, because they reset our thinking to think, oh, it's okay to binge, right? So I went off on one. Eat your whole healthy foods. I'm talking about potatoes, pumpkins, squash. Enjoy these foods while they're around, while they're in season. They're fantastic. Enjoy your winter vegetables, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, right? Broccoli, whatever it is, cabbage. Enjoy the hearty foods, but make sure they're all whole foods, plant-based. Don't just take them away. You still want half of a plate of vegetables, still want a quarter of a plate of grains, right? These are going to keep you satiated. They're going to keep you they're going to keep you energized. They're going to keep you full. The protein, we're still looking for a quarter of the plate for high protein. I'm talking lentils, chickpeas. Eat your whole healthy foods, right? Don't just go on a complete starvation mode because Christmas is coming up, because I guarantee you, if you did that, you are leading yourself to a binge fest at Christmas, and you're going to be right back where you started, exactly where you were this time last year. Okay. Tip number 4, eat plenty of plant-based protein. Just waiting for the wave of the whole, oh yeah, but you always say that we don't need to worry about protein to go. Yes, we do need to worry about protein, right? I had a perfect conversation with my friend who is very mindful of her food today. And she was saying that she was snacking a lot and overeating a lot. And so I suggested, just for now, a protein, not smoothie, it's like protein squash. And she was like, oh my God, it's amazing. How did you know? I said, well, you're snacking a lot and you're craving a lot. And what protein does, by the way, I don't recommend, and I'm not going to give out the brand or anything. I'm not going to explain it because I don't recommend it. And it's only because she's my friend and she knows how else to get it. But it was just like a really quick fix, right? Same with like if anyone's nutrient deficient, I'm like, okay, get those nutrients in, get the multivitamins in, get the supplements to regulate you and balance you, and then let's focus on your diet, right? Just a disclaimer there. Protein keeps you satiated, so pair it with a carbohydrate is going to slow the release of glucose into your body, which is basically going to keep your blood sugar levels maintained and a slow release. So it's going to give you more energy over a longer period of time, which basically means with more protein in your diet, you're less likely to snack. It's going to keep you satiated, which means you're not going to want to eat more. You're not sending out those hunger hormones to eat more. It's cool, right? Eat more protein. A lot of people who go plant-based or vegan totally leave out the protein. They'll have the vegetables and some starch, so like potatoes or rice, but they forget that they still need a good source of protein. Okay, so don't ever forget to have a lentil, a bean, chickpea at every meal. Okay, tofu, tempeh, they're beans, edamame. Focus on high protein vegetables like peas. Peas are really good. They are still technically a pulse, right? So that because they're technically from a legume. So focus on those runner beans, all the different types of beans, guys, all the different types of beans, different types of lentils as well. Tip number 5 is reduce your sugar and caffeine. Yes, I know you're here because you are struggling to reduce your sugar and caffeine. But if you're like, oh, I'll just have one more, the problem with just one more, or the problem with finishing off the cupboard before you start on Monday, oh my God, that's the most annoying shit, right? The reason why it's annoying is because if you're finishing it off, you're feeding that gut bacteria for a start. And if it's sugar-based, then you are setting yourself up for a crash, setting yourself up for a bigger crave the next day. If you're one of these cereal, I'm just going to eat it all, then it's out the way. Don't rethink, give it to a neighbor, throw it away, just stop now. Okay, just start now, because you're only making it worse for yourself. So reduce your sugar and reduce your caffeine, because this is going to maintain your blood sugar levels. Again, increasing the starch, increasing the protein is going to keep you at a much more balanced sugar level, which is going to reduce your desire to snack and crave a sugar hit and a caffeine hit. Now, again, I'm going to reiterate my biggest point here is to sleep enough, guys. 7 to 9 hours. Find your sweet spot, find what works for you. If you are sleep deprived, you're going to want a snack. You're going to need energy. And the only way that your body is going to be able to source that is from caffeine and sugar. And caffeine also, again, makes you crave more because you're crashing more. So let's recap. It's either physical or mental craving. Suss it out. If you try and deal with your emotional shit and you realize that you're wasting your time because your food craving is actually physical, and you're kind of wasting your time, right? And you're making it harder for yourself in between. So work out whether it's physical or emotional. If it's physical, make sure you are eating enough whole foods, reducing caffeine, reducing sugar, eating enough, drinking enough water. If it's emotional, deal with your own shit. Deal with your emotions, right? Figure out better ways to cope. And that's all it is, right? That's all it is we've chosen the wrong way to cope with our emotions. That's it. That's cool. Okay. There's 100 other ways that we can manage and deal with our emotions. We've just chosen the wrong one. That's why we're here. So, physical or emotional. Did you know it's 6 days until Halloween? 6 days until Halloween. Did you know it's 60 days until Christmas? It's 68 days till New Year's. And did you know that statistically 80 to 90% of New Year's resolutions fail? Why wait? Make your cravings worse. Add more weight on, add more emotional stress, add to the toll. Why wait, right? Remember, if you sign up for coaching before December, you'll receive an extra month's worth of coaching for free. That's £160. Haven't worked out in US dollars. I'm just going to shoot for the stars and say about 200 US dollars roughly. You're going to save yourself $200, right? And an extra entire month of coaching. Let's say you start in December, right? December, January, February, March, April, May, June. You're going to be covered through the most of the year. Do you know how much shit you can battle with 7 months of bespoke coaching? Incredible. I'm here to help you, right? Lose weight sustainably and naturally. So don't forget to drop the word in my DMs or below here, cool, and I'll get you signed up for the freebie. Okay. Sending you lots of love. Well done. And if you have any questions, please tag me in the comments below. Bye for now.